question for you that I ran into a social situation.
Just hold on, because we just went down the path about Adam and his suit and feeling like he violated other people's trust, and like he's genuinely mad that he showed up in a suit because others didn't have a suit.
Because we weren't supposed to. And then but I did too. But literally the first thing that was said to me was, I thought that we weren't supposed to. Why did you do that? Now I feel underdressed. That was the first thing said to me when I walked in.
I think, but if I remember correctly, like 3 of the people that the males that sat at our table, or 4, right? I think, 5 of the 5 that sat at our table, 3 were in in full suits, right? You weren't the only one. It was me.
No, but
Brad, you.
Sure, but then there's other people at the wedding too, and not everybody was, and the invitation said not to. So now you're putting the people that didn't in a bad situation.
A bad situation.
Well, you know what? I wanted to look good. What can I say?
A bad situation.
But that's you, and I get that, and it's that's all fine. But as we were talking about, my entire existence is basically just making I need to make sure everybody else is okay. And if everybody's not happy, that's on you.
So because one person out of the, what would we say, is there 60, 70 people? Because one person felt underdressed.
And I don't even think, listen, I don't think he even cared. I don't think he was upset. And he had a great time. And it was whatever. It was just, but the first thing that was said, and I was oh man, this is exactly what I didn't want. We talked about this on Friday. I said, that's the one thing I don't want. I was I'm going to go ahead and wear a suit, but I don't want to make anyone feel like they should have, because the invitation said not to. And so the first person says that, and I think he's just kind of joking around, but it just kind of ruined that vibe for a while.
It ruined the vibe for what are you talking about? It was a wonderful wedding. The guy who served as the official was awesome.
And he's very pretty, kind of known around town. Really good guy. Has his hands on a lot of things.
Their vows were great. It turns out that Taylor Byrne, former company member, is a maniacal love man.
Yeah.
What was it, what was all the collectibles along the way? I'm like, I haven't picked up anything in 10 years for the SO. This guy's pulling out the first fortune cookie they had together. I'm like, I'm screwed.
He saved, not only did he save the first fortune he got from the first time they ate Chinese food together,
not the cookie. Yeah.
But he also tied his vows around the fortune.
Yes.
And that's what happened. By the way, that's what happens when two writers get married.
Yeah.
Dude, the vows are going to be good.
That was my thing. Was as I was listening to Taylor, I was like, wow, yeah, this guy's a writer. This is so ridiculous how well put together these vows were. For me, and it shamed my wedding because I made it my vow on the spot. Now, I spoke from the heart, and it was very heartfelt, and I meant every word of it. But it was not as eloquent as with Taylor.
But wasn't it just you two and an Elvis impersonator there at your wedding?
There's so much to break down from this wedding. I actually scared Mike Romalo from the Las Vegas Sun this morning over at UNLV, and I was like, I think Adam's got a lot of material on you, Mike. And he was like, what did I do? I didn't do anything. I'm like, hold on.
I pointed out to him.
I know you did. So we'll continue this. We had a Cofield and Company wedding. Not really. One of our buddies, Taylor Byrne, former company member, who's now living in Prague, got married over the weekend. All right, what was your restaurant decorum? What was the question? Something along those lines?
It's not a restaurant decorum, but it has to do with food. It's a grocery store decorum.
Oh boy.
So I went to the grocery store earlier today when I got off work in VSIN. So I check out, I'm getting my stuff rung up and I'm paying. Lady gets in line behind me, puts her basket down, and then runs off to go get something. She takes so long that 3 people get in line and are looking at the conveyor belt and the guy asks, is this somebody's? And the cashier's like, yeah, she said she'd be right back, which, by the way, she didn't. She didn't say a word, which is very nice of the cashier to kind of stick up for her, I guess. So as I was leaving, I see this lady finally running back. My question to you is, if you're in line, because there was 3 people by the time she got back, are you letting her back in?
Was she having her stuff rung up, or she was just in line?
No, so I was having my stuff rung up when she put her stuff down and ran off. I was done, checked out, and walking out by the time she was making her way back. She wasn't even back yet.
As long as the cashier is not waiting, doing nothing, I think it's okay.
No, I'm talking about you as a person in line, though. Like I said, 3 people got in line in the time that she was taking to come back.
Yeah, but I'm saying, the cashier saw that she left her stuff there. I'm saying there's no way, if the lady is still not there and it's time for somebody else to go, obviously they need to go. They don't wait for her to come back to start. But
Right.
I think it's okay as long as it's not like an egregious. I got one thing, I put it up there, and now I'm going to go shopping for 15 minutes and get my stuff. Like if it actually is something that they have to just go get, I think that's okay.
Okay.
Good answer.
She took over 3 minutes to go get her thing. So I don't know.
It's
I think she was
excessive.
grabbing multiple things.
It's excessive.
It's excessive, yes.
John Von Tobel, VSiN is with us. All right. What do we see on the betting markets today with Deshaun Watson getting 6 games? Quarterback of the Browns will be back sooner than most people thought.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing that I like a lot. So, and I'm sure you guys have talked about today, it was a recommendation for the suspension, and that's what it's going to start out with. The NFL has 3 days to appeal. So it's not like this thing is really over with, as many in the sports betting community pretty much exuded. They were like, all right, cool, it's over. Let's look at the Browns now. And it's like, well, we don't know what's really going to happen here, with what the NFL wants to do. So there were adjustments, and there wasn't a lot, right? You could clearly tell in the offseason market that odds makers were with the thought of around 8 games, Deshaun Watson was going to be gone. For example, the Westgate Superbook, they pulled off, if for those who don't know, the Superbook put up point spreads for every single game for every single team. So they pulled off Cleveland, but it was rehung over there. It was rehung up at DraftKings. All the point spreads for the first 6 games remained the same. So it's not like this is like a really big adjustment. Some spots go from 30-1 to win the Super Bowl to 25-1. Odds to win the division go from about plus 260 to plus 230, plus 220, depending on where you shop. So there wasn't really massive adjustments because we kind of got the inkling months ago that this was going to be one where Watson was going to come back at some point. So you could see that there wasn't much of an adjustment from the betting market. But I would say 2 things. One, don't just start firing away on Cleveland stuff because we don't know how this process is going to play out, especially if they appeal it. And I'll ask you guys, because what I thought was really interesting is Ian Rappaport goes on Pat McAfee's show and says that if the NFL appeals it and if the suspension becomes longer, like close to the entire season, 12, whatever, that Deshaun Watson would then go to court, or his people would go to court to challenge the ruling. Would that not then make this thing so that it's kind of like a stay before that it can actually get enacted? Thus, could Deshaun Watson actually be available to start the season?
That'll be interesting. I think that he's absolutely going to sue in federal court if the NFL, again, as we said, the NFL could appeal and then hear the appeal themselves and have Goodell decide on the suspension. That is egregious. And as I pointed out, I think even if you hate Deshaun Watson and think he should be banned for life, you should be angry that would be the process. It's a ridiculous process. But yeah, that is something to keep in mind as well. It could end up being a year, could end up being pushed back a year, depending on what happens with that case. John, we wondered earlier what the adjustment in a line would be between Watson and Jacoby Brissett. We got some information from a sportsbook director. There'll be 6 to 6.5 points. Does that sound right to you?
I was going to say full touchdown, like 7. So that 6 to 6.5 sounds about right. I mean, think about this game that they're playing against Carolina to start the year. I would assume that line is more like 6.5, maybe even the full 7 on the road against Carolina, even with Baker Mayfield, as opposed to the 1 that is sitting out there right now. So I would say, yeah, that's pretty fair. But I also say too, Adam, and this is what I think is pretty fascinating about from just a purely football and betting perspective with Cleveland, is if you run with the assumption that it's 6 games and you analyze their first 6 games, it is one of the, I think Warren Sharp put out, it's like the easiest first 6 games in the National Football League of all the schedules, if you assess it by like win total standpoint or something like that. And if you dive in a little bit deeper, 5 of their 6 opponents, their first 6 opponents, ranked 15th or worse in rush defense DVOA, and 4 of them ranked 26th or worse. So this is a slate that is tailor-made for Cleveland with or without Deshaun Watson. So if you go forward with the thinking, and if it stays at 6 games, and I kind of alluded to this when I sent you guys notes, if that's going to be the case, Cleveland is still really alive to win that division because they don't miss a single divisional game. They start off right away with 2 games when Deshaun Watson comes back. The schedule is extremely easy. This team could still be 4-2 by the time Watson comes back if it is indeed 6 games.
Yeah, I love starting off against arch rival Baltimore. So that'd be great.
Right. When Monday night too, right?
That the Browns and Ravens fans already hate each other, and then this will add fuel to the fire. What did you see in the Hall of Fame game betting market today? I know we talked about it a little bit off air, and we just got the tidbit from our friend Dave Koken that in their first stints as coaches, Doug Peterson 4-0 in his first year with the Eagles in the preseason. Josh McDaniels with the Broncos 0-4 in his first year.
I like trends like that because what year was Josh McDaniels?
2008.
2008. Okay, so that matters. No, I think so. We saw this market move, right? As of I think even yesterday, the Raiders were still 1.5 point favorites. Some spots like the South Point opened them up 2 point favorites. But in the last 24 hours or so, we have seen the market shift, and now multiple books, the Jaguars are 1-point favorites. I know that you and I, you referenced how we were texting off the air, obviously, and how it sounds like the Raiders aren't really going to play anybody. I mean, it's the Hall of Fame game. I didn't expect anybody to play for either team, so I think it's a little weird that the market's moving on something like that. Especially, I would say this much. It's really not that much. You're talking about just going from like 1-1, especially in a preseason game. But I will say this: I bet Jacksonville. And one of the big things for me in preseason handicapping is evaluating quarterback depth charts. And the Jags actually have a sneaky good quarterback depth chart. If Beathard's healthy and he plays, and this is just for me going forward in the preseason, CJ Beathard was the highest rated quarterback by PFF standards in the preseason last year. He was actually really good. And you have Jake Luton out of what he played for Oregon State. He's actually had some regular season action as well. Kyle Slaughter has a really, really solid preseason start under his belt too in years past. I kind of like Jacksonville as a whole going into the preseason, but I bet them here to win this game against the Raiders as well.
John Von Tobel, VSiN, is with us. So, John, I got 30 seconds left. You made another NFL win total bet. The Bears, I'm guessing over?
Under. And so this is the way I approached it, Steve. So you can get 6.5, like the predominant number out there. I went under 6 plus 105, which is over at Circa. For PFF today, he actually said their numbers show a 3% edge to play them at worst record in the national. In terms of their players with the new coaching staff, I went under 6 plus 105.
John, thank you. We'll see you later in the week.
Good to talk to you guys. Thank you.
There he is, John Von Tobel, VSiN, Monday through Friday, 1 o'clock, and then he's got his Sunday afternoon show that goes down at 3 in the afternoon. We got a lot of giveaways today. Let's take care of one now. 364-1100, 364-1100. Chico Bean, comedian. Mirage, Saturday night, this weekend. 10 o'clock show, 16 plus. Ticketmaster.com. Ticketmaster.com is where you can grab your tickets. Chico Bean, comedian, Mirage Theater, August 6th. 2 tickets from Ari, 364-1100, caller 7.
More of Cofield and Company is on the way.
Are you aware approximately 15% of all babies have complicated births? Time to make a difference. Positively Kids is here to help. Hello, I'm Fred Schultz, CEO of Positively Kids. For over 20 years, our local nonprofit has provided care to thousands of children in Southern Nevada. Our mission is to help children with critical healthcare needs so they can reach their